Hello and welcome to another episode of eDiscovery Chicks, the podcast about all things eDiscovery and legal tech, hosted by a couple of gals who are feeling a little bit worse for wear after the holidays and very much looking forward to the new year. Anyways, we are your hosts. That's Bree.
And that's Angie. How are you doing, Angie? I haven't talked to you since Christmas and all of that.
I know. I am doing good. I'm feeling like pretty tired, pretty ready for. I feel like there comes this time for me every year because we always host the holidays, and there always comes this moment where I'm like, I just want some goddamn peace and quiet,
Yeah.
and I feel like my body and soul are really ready for a peace and quiet era.
And I can totally understand. I always feel emotionally completely worn out because you have all the anticipation of the holidays and all the things that you have to like on your list that you have to cross off and do. It's a lot. And then you have all the expectations for your kids if you are a parent. Like, how do we blow their minds this year? Why did we reach the pinnacle last year? I can't do better than that. But I think like after all the hubbub and after all the things are said and done and after all the presents and crap have been opened and all the trash has been taken out and you're trying to get your house back to normal, there's like like a little bit of a depression. It's
Yeah.
over.
I know, and it just feels like, oh, okay, so now it's just gonna be January.
Right.
Anyway, on that happy note,
Oh.
so what was one like highlight from your holiday season?
One thing I always love is adopting a family at Christmas time. And the Women in eDiscovery chapter of Houston has had an annual tradition where we adopt a family and we take care of all the kids, Christmas needs or mom or dad or whatever. And thanks to our chapter membership, of course, and their donations and all that. This year, we adopted a family that had 6 kids with a single mom. And so there was a lot of things on their list and a lot of necessities, which we were happy to provide. But, when we went to their house to deliver, the kids weren't there, which actually made me really happy because I told the mom, I'm like, you need to hide all these gifts and like Santa Claus is
Yeah.
gonna really come this year. But she was showing us pictures of the kids and everything, and we're like, oh my god, these little kids are gonna have the Christmas of their life. And I was sharing this with a couple of friends of mine, and a mutual friend said, I was one of those kids once. I had
Oh,
somebody donate to my family when we were having a really rough year and we didn't know if we were going to get Christmas. And it changed my whole life. And I was like, oh my gosh. And that just made me so happy to know that number one, that our community came together to give. But number two, to like see that whole cycle of blowing these kids' minds for Christmas, but then knowing years later that their lives are really impacted forever. And it made me feel really good. So that is a highlight of this holiday.
oh my God, I want to cry. That was so beautiful.
Oh, yeah. So top that, Angie. I'm just kidding.
Jesus. No, I don't even want to follow that. I can't
Oh,
follow that.
gosh. Oh,
Um,
gosh.
I feel like I just need to change the topic now because
Oh,
nothing I could
no.
say. So this was the first year that my 3-year-old, almost 3-year-old, was really sort of aware of Christmas. So it was really special watching her come up the stairs, talk about Santa. I think the thing I find really touching about it too is she started to really learn how to say thank you.
Oh.
And so we also taught her how to say smash the patriarchy. Uh, but,
Right
but
after thank you.
right after thank you, smash the patriarchy. Um, so she has been saying that a lot. She's really into floor puzzles right now. And so we like every time you hand her a piece, she's like, thank you. It's just really cute to watch
Aw.
her sort of develop into a kid, like a bigger kid.
Mhm.
And then she started saying things like, when you cough and like something goes down the wrong pipe or whatever, like water or
Mhm.
whatever. It's just she started saying like, "It goes down the wrong pipe," just these things that feel so adult, and you're like, oh my God, it is so weird seeing this come out of a tiny human's face hole.
Well, just wait until she gets to the age where she doesn't know what's appropriate to share with outsiders and what needs to stay inside of your family group. That was my favorite stage. We still have memories of that, and we'll go somewhere and we're like, Miles, we're about to go somewhere and we're giving somebody a gift that somebody else gave us. Do not, and I repeat, do not say that you've seen this before. Mom, I would never do that. Yeah, you would. You absolutely would do that when you were 5 years old, and I've never gotten over it. So,
Yeah, you little narc.
like, exactly. I guess Christmas is done, New Year's is impending. But I mean, looking back over this last year, 2024, I look at our podcast and I'm like, hey, baby, we came a long way. I mean, we've grown at least like 800 more followers on LinkedIn this year, maybe more than that. We have almost 6,000 downloads of our podcast. We've had people in countries all over the world listen to our podcast. Like, it's been a pretty incredible year. We launched a website. We rebranded ourselves. I mean, there's been a lot of things I feel like we've accomplished this year, and I hope our flock has been excited about that. And I've heard a lot of positive feedback. I always feel like I want to hear from more people. In terms of our work together, what do you think has been a highlight this year for 2024?
I'm going to take this in a slightly different direction and say it's honestly been working with you. I know we kind of joke about like both being the people in group projects that are likely to just pick up the torch and do the whole thing. But it's amazing what you can accomplish when you have two of those people in a room together. Really working with you has really inspired me to be like a better partner, a better friend, a better co-entrepreneur. You know, I feel held to a standard of excellence by you, not because of anything you say or do, but just because you yourself are so excellent, that I feel like I need to match those vibes. And that's been a very special growth period for me, I think.
Okay, so now you're going to try to make me cry? Is that what you're getting me back? Oh, Angie, you're just the sweetest thing to say all those things. I don't see them myself. And I could say ditto to all of it in regards to you. I was talking to my husband last night. We had an adult moment where we got to reflect on things that had nothing to do with our child, which never was
Oh,
like
God, that's
very
amazing.
rare. I know. And I was reflecting on this year with our podcast, and I was laughing at all of the things I've learned from you that I just think are amazing, and that I think that you are incredible as a person, a human. Your heart is incredible, but you have so much skill and talent at things that I am complete dumbass at. So I'm like, well, I really had my shit together. And then I started working with Angie. I'm like, whoa.
Oh my God, same. I'm like, I had my shit together and I started working with you. And now I'm like, oh, I'm a
There's a
dumpster
whole
fire.
world out there. No. But I think the great thing, and something I always have aspired to be a part of, is women empowering each other to be their absolute best. That's something I've enjoyed seeing in you. You clearly have strengths that are not mine. You clearly bring to the table some skills and knowledge and great efficiency with processes and workflows
My passion,
and
Bree.
an organization like no other.
I
um,
do really enjoy organizing.
but when I look at our website and all the things that we've crafted, it has Angie all over it, and it never ever would have existed without you and your influence. It's been really fun to watch you start something from a very minuscule idea and grow into something that has been super impactful outside of ourselves, and seeing people's lives that have been changed, that have been on our podcast and grown themselves and challenged us to grow. Thank you for those kind words, Angie. But I could not be anywhere near successful with anything with this podcast if it wasn't for you and your great partnership. So thank you for that.
Well, it takes two to tango, girl. So ditto. Okay, so Bree, what are you looking forward to most in 2025? Take it wherever you will. A specific event, a vibe, a mind shift.
So 2025, I think that this year is going, well, I already know this year is going to be extremely busy for us. We've already got an action-packed schedule and plan going,
That's true.
which I'm very excited about all of our adventures. I feel like there's a lot of just haste and fast pace and trying to get things done and trying to check things off of lists and trying to move products and embrace AI and all these
Yeah.
things that you feel like you've got to do and got to keep up with. And it's like we haven't slowed down to appreciate ourselves, number one, but appreciate each other. and our own uniqueness. And so I look forward to digging down to the reason why we do this shit and why it matters in the first place. That's very important to me and something I really want to focus on this year.
Yeah. Some of y'all might have seen on our socials that we're starting this new series where we explore the intersection of eDiscovery and criminal enterprise, basically. How do you take eDiscovery, which is this sort of, I don't know, I feel like it can be kind of dry, right? It's like you're just taking data and processing, producing, blah, blah, blah. And what does it look like to make that come to life in a persuasive way when the stakes are so high? And then we've also got, a couple like people that are in forensics lined up to talk about this. We've got some specific criminal cases that we want to look at, like the BTK killer and a couple other things. For me, it's this intersection between eDiscovery and these other disciplines that is really inspiring me this season. I feel like the industry has traditionally been one that is sort of siloed. And so I'm hoping that highlighting those intersections drives a greater awareness for the industry and a greater appreciation for the value that it holds.
I totally agree with you. Us understanding the value of what we bring and then being able to communicate that out to other people in, nearby industries, I think is really important.
So here's a question for you, Bree. What is one habit or practice that you want to start, stop, or continue in the new year?
Oh,
Can you
God.
tell I got one of those planners that makes you like self-reflect before the new year started?
Something that I want to continue or stop. There's a lot of things I should stop doing. Something that I've really found a lot of pleasure in this year is watercoloring.
Oh my God, I was going to say, please say watercolor. Please say watercolor.
Well, it sounds so silly. And I am the kind of person, maybe you can relate to this, but I am the kind of person where I'm so task focused and I always have 5 or 6 different projects going at one time that I feel guilty for sitting down and not doing anything. And
Yes.
I also feel guilty for things that I do just out of pleasure. Watercolor is one of those things where it's like literally I'm just sitting here for my own pleasure painting on whatever. And maybe it'll be a good project. Maybe it'll be a shitty project. Maybe I'll gift it to somebody. Maybe I'll burn it in the fire. I don't know. But whatever it is, it's up for me to design and do and just like be myself in that moment. And I think the feeling of letting yourself have fun and letting yourself experience joy and downtime is so important when it comes to the rest of what you have going on.
Right.
Like I need to be able to do that so I can center myself as a person, so I can show up and be everything that I need to be for the eDiscovery chicks or for my job or for, my marriage or to be a mom, like whatever. And so that's what I guess I would say I would do more of. And also, it helped me to find people that really enjoy it too. So I could nerd out with them about it. And like we could be nerds about, did you try this paint? And did you try these paintbrushes? And you want to get together and do like watercolor and wine night? Like, so that's been kind of fun to have people to allow yourself to go have fun with and like have this joy, this thing that just brings you all happiness to do. That's been really fun. So I want to do more of that.
I love that. I think there's such value in doing things just because they bring you joy. Watching a kid lately, I feel like has really showed me that because
Mm-hmm.
they only do things for joy, right? Except when you make them do things like put their socks on and it's the end of the world. There's so much freedom in that, like so much psychological and emotional and mental freedom in doing something just because you enjoy it. There are no expectations, there's no goal, there's no deadline. It's just for fun. And I think that's so beautiful and something that our culture really doesn't celebrate enough.
Yeah. Well, and I also think the unique ways that we all choose to do that brings out our own individuality. And I think
Yeah.
that individuality is something that I feel like is really going away. Like it seems weird to say that, but I feel like the things that make us unique and make us stand out somehow we have a way of trying to normalize it like we do in eDiscovery with data. Oh my God, that's so funny. I said normalizing. I'm like, we have normalized ourselves to like fit into some understandable role or group of people or whatever. We forget that it's like okay to be yourself, and you should probably explore what yourself means and love it and have fun doing it. Then that will translate into the other things that you have going on too. Anyway, I'm getting off on a tangent.
I loved
So,
the tangent.
so what about you? Like, what would you say? Like, you want to do less or more of every this year?
Ooh. Okay, so I don't really know how to say this succinctly. What I want to do is be more intentional with whatever I'm doing. Because I've noticed when I actually use my planner and I write down like, okay, from 8 to 9, I will check emails and Slacks. From 9 to 10, I'm going to do projects and like locate all of my tasks and put them somewhere. From 10 to 12, I'm going to execute on project A. When I actually sit down and do that and I plan out my week that way and then I stick to it, I feel so much better. Like I feel so much more fulfilled by whatever I'm doing because it feels like I set a goal, I made measurable progress toward it, and like something about that I find really personally fulfilling. And it doesn't even matter, like work is one example, but say like on the weekend, I could be like, I want to clean out the front hall closet. And then you do it and set aside, an hour or 2 hours or whatever you think it's going to take. And for me, I think that kind of intentionality and then recognition that I didn't just like fart around all day, I actually did something. Or I farted around all day because my body needed it. Makes a really big difference for me in terms of my mental health. I really want to get more consistent at doing that.
I love that you said all of that because I totally agree with you. And I think you hit on something that I personally want to be better at, which is, I guess, maybe giving yourself grace is really what it all comes down to. We're all going to have days and seasons where you sit on your butt and you don't do anything. Like you just completely lose yourself in whatever Netflix series you're into or whatever it is. I think that not giving yourself a hard time for staying on task or always being efficient or always being productive, that's something I really struggle with because I am super type A and I have so many goals and aspirations that I want to do that I feel guilty when I'm not making progress. But sometimes making progress is actually in the form of letting your brain settle down. What happens when we move too fast and we get too caught up is that we forget to be a person, we forget to be ourselves. But we also can very easily lose sight of why it's important in the first place. And I think that that kind of goes back to what you were saying about being intentional. And you've got to be able to remember why you're doing it, remember why it matters, remember what value it brings to yourself and to the world, and focus on that. Also be okay with deciding that you were wrong, like, hey, maybe I shouldn't have spent my time doing this with such and such, or I shouldn't have spent my time on this project, or maybe this is not where I'm supposed to be. I tried it. I did my best to make the best decision at the time, what to do and spend my time however I thought was appropriate or helpful. That didn't work out, and it's okay to let go. And it doesn't mean that I'm a failure. It just means I'm learning.
Right. It's that sort of like sunk cost fallacy.
Mm-hmm.
It's like don't stick with something just because you've sunk time into it or whatever. If it's
Right.
not fulfilling you, like let it go.
Right.
Let it go.
So Angie, I know we have talked a lot about what we've been excited about this last year, what we're looking forward to next year, but we still have New Year's Eve, girl.
Yeah, we
So,
do.
so what are your big plans for the big night? You have anything going on?
So to no one's surprise, we host. So we live in Seattle, like kind of across the water from downtown. And so we have a really good view of the whole city skyline and the Space Needle, which is where they shoot fireworks from. We're going to have three of my best friends from law school with their significant others. And then like one of them has kids as well. So we're going to have like packed house full of people. We always get dressed up for New Year's. Like the past 3 years, this same group gets together. We always get fancy and then drink way too much champagne. But it's just great. It's this group of people that like I've known for God, like almost 15 years. And there's something about like, we all went to law school together. We were all in the trenches. We've all seen each other at our absolute worst because law school just makes you absolutely psychotic. And we've stayed in touch and we've stayed super close. And it's the kind of people where, you see them and it feels like not a moment has passed. I'm just really looking forward to that quality time with people that I adore and would do anything for. What about you?
Awesome.
What are your plans?
Well, compared to you, I got nothing going on over here. Um, so we typically have spent New Year's doing anything fireworks related, because I guess we're true Texans and we like to blow shit up. But we also have a son who likes to do fireworks too. Well, I'm kind of a pyro too, so I can't really even lie. So we always get real big into fireworks. We like fire pits because it's usually cold enough to have a fire pit here in Texas. But I mean, it's not that cold. You can still enjoy being outside. In the past, we've kind of made it more kid centric. So this year, we've already told my son, we're like, Mommy and Daddy kind of want to chill New Year's. And he was like, actually, guys, I was hoping you would say that because I don't want to have a lot of people over either. And I was like, really? Okay. And he's like, I just really want to do like the good fireworks.
Oh
and
my
and then I
God.
want to watch like the ball go down all over the world. And we're like, okay. And so we decided we were going to enjoy just being super low key, which is perfect for me this year because the end of the year has been high drama in all aspects of my life. So it's very much welcomed to have a chill night and get our heads on straight for the new year. I want to wish you a happy new year, Angie. Thank you for an amazing 2024. And I'm looking forward to what we do next in 2025 and can't wait to see how our flock thinks about the new season that we've been working so hard on. And I want to wish all of our listeners a happy new year. Thank you for your dedication this year. Thank you to all the people all over the United States and all over the world who have listened to our episodes and our silly shenanigans and our thoughts about eDiscovery. Thank you to our guests that have come on and shared their expertise and their thoughts and their emotions. We have even more guests lined up for this next year that I cannot wait to meet and to explore the topics that they will bring to the table. But thank you to everybody who made 2024 just an amazing year and helped Angie and I to find not only our own value and worth, but also what we can bring to the world to bring out your value and your worth and hopefully make the world a better place through discovery. Is that too cheesy?
No, I don't think it is. And I want to echo everything that Bree said. Thank you, Bree. Thank you to everyone who has downloaded, listened to, shared our little podcast. We could not be more grateful. Here's to 2025.
Cheers.
Cheers. Thanks for joining us on eDiscovery Chicks. We hope you learned something new, felt empowered, or just had some fun along the way. Don't forget to join the flock by following us on LinkedIn and Instagram, and check out our website, eDiscoveryChicks.com. If you loved this episode or any of our other episodes, please share it with your network, leave us a review, or tag us on socials with your favorite takeaway. And don't forget to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts so you never miss an episode. Catch us on season 2 in 2025. And until then, flock on, friends.
Bye.
Bye.